So I actually think last weekend was one of the most historic boxing events and MMA events of this year, and probably of all time to some extent. Don't get it twisted, it wasn't like Thrilling Manila or anything like that on that level, but there was still some significant things that happened. I mean, if you think about it, Canelo became the first undisputed Mexican champion ever. I mean, I find that absolutely intriguing because of the fact that Mexico has got a massive lineage of boxing and legacy of boxing. It's got a huge pedigree when it comes to boxing, yeah. And for them to never have had an undisputed champion, for Canelo to be the first one, and he done it against a good fighter as well in Caleb Plant. I mean, that's quite historic stuff. I know there's a lot of people that don't like Canelo, but regardless of what you think about him, you got to admit that is quite impressive what he managed to accomplish. And then on top of that, you saw the MMA event that happened, and every fight on there was an absolute barn burner. It was an incredible event. I mean, from the actual main event, Colby Covington versus Usman, which was lit. It was an absolute lit event. I mean, I think the second fight was better than the first fight in my opinion. Then you obviously had Thug Rose fighting Welly, and I'll be honest with you, that was a very close fight. I mean, you could have went 3-2 either way depending on who you thought won it. And then on top of that, you had the Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler fight, which in my opinion is probably the fight of the year for this particular year, when it comes to, unless another fight comes along that blows it out the water. And to be fair, there's a couple of events left, so it could happen. But just to put it into perspective in terms of the UFC, that event was such a big event because you had Alex Pereira, who done a KO. He knocked out his opponent. This is a former person that beat Israel Adesanya in kickboxing. You had Chris Barnett, who had his wicked entrance, and then he done a heel hook KO, and then on top of that he done a flip. You done Ian Gary, who's got a bit of buzz about him. He done a KO. You have Imavov, who done domination. You got Chris Curtis comeback KO. On top of that, you had Bobby Green, who managed to do, I think he managed to do a KO. You had the Gaethje vs Chandler war. I don't know how that managed to go the distance. You had Burgess vs Carantillo war, which was a great fight. You had the Cheeto front kick KO over Frankie Edgar. And then you had Rose vs Zhang, which was a very close fight. And then you had the Usman vs Covington war. All of them fights on that card was incredible to watch. Was fun to watch. Was fun. So from my perspective, I just think at this point it's one of the most interesting times in MMA. Truth be told, there's a lot going on, and in boxing as well to some extent. Don't get it twisted, it's not as significant as MMA. I think MMA is on a run right now, but there's still good fights going on in boxing. Let's not get it twisted. I mean, Caleb Plant versus Canelo was a top fight. I mean, it was an undisputed clash for the top pound for pound fighter on the planet. So I think both sports are going through a good spot at the moment. Obviously MMA at this point in time is ahead, but truth be told, if you look at it from that perspective, that yeah, I mean, I think there's a hell of a lot going on in this sport. I mean, and I can't wait to see what actually happens next in this sport. I mean, the times are just coming where I think MMA is in a golden age at this point in time. I think there's a lot of good things going on in the sport, and on top of that, like boxing itself, it is in a bit of a run. I mean, come on, I know we're talking about the Canelo vs Caleb Plant fight, but there's other fights going on at this point in time. Obviously you got other significant clashes going on. Boxing has always been a sport that always found a way to be resilient and bounce back, and I hope it will. Obviously it's not the level of MMA right now in terms of hype and like exposure and all this other stuff that's going on, but generally speaking, I think boxing will do just fine. It will do just fine. So yeah, that's just my opinion of what happened this weekend, and I hope the trend continues. Obviously you got the Max Holloway versus Yair Rodriguez fight going on, and then by the end of this year, hopefully we're going to see Dustin Poirier versus Charles Oliveira, which is going to be a huge fight for the lightweight division. So yeah, to find out who's the best lightweight in the world, and I can't wait to see that. So yeah, it's been a great event the past weekend, and I'm very much looking forward to Max Holloway versus Rodriguez. But yeah, tell me your opinion. What do you think about everything that's happened this last weekend? What's your opinion about it? Do you think it's great? Do you think it's bad? What's your opinion about it? And like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.